Hey everybody, this is Beast. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Scottyallenday. I figured at this time I'm still developing my vlogging skills, still developing, my personality. And I just wanted to get something off my chest. And it bothers me. It bugs me a lot. It's not right, and it's totally unfair. So, my struggles in life, we've evolved with a hearing disability. Don't really see the hearing aid that's behind my ear right there. And it involves being a hearing disability. I got my disability gift before I was even born. My dad got sprayed with Agent Orange in Vietnam, and it went through his DNA and it took my hearing. So all my life I have struggled, I have fought. I mean, discrimination is huge in my life. And the thing is when you're born deaf, your vocal volume, your tone of voice all goes along with it. You end up with a speech impairment. If you're in some loud environment, your voice is loud and commanding. And a lot of people don't understand that. But discrimination in the workplace is huge. I could never join the service, even though there are service-worthy jobs that a person of my caliber could be able to do. I mean, working in the motor pool, numerous jobs that I could be able to do in the service if I could go into the service, but I can't go into the service because, well, you know what? I wear a hearing aid. So I sat there and I took a look and I said, okay, well, let me see if I can join the police academy or the fire department. And I researched that, and no, they don't allow anybody with hearing aids in either. I said, okay, well, let me try and be a prison guard. Let me try and become a pilot. Nope, and nope. There are laws that prevent me from being either. I said, okay. So the more that I started looking, the more I started seeing that just because somebody has a robotic ear, just because somebody has a piece of plastic behind their ear, doesn't necessarily mean they can't hear. I could hear behind me. I could hear on both sides of me. I can hear just as good as anybody else. Well, if I got to have a set of headphones, I got to make sure I have a special type of headphone, and I can do it. I've applied for dispatcher jobs. I've applied for 911 jobs. They won't take me because they said they don't have the equipment that can be able to, that could accommodate me. And I'm like, whoa, okay. And then when we had our big event during 9/11, and the Department of Homeland Security came up with TSA and the airport jobs. And at that time, I had just got my CDL. And every time I get my CDL, it is a huge process. In order for me to get my DOT medical card, which says I'm fit to drive a bus, a box truck, a refrigerated van, a straight moving truck, that I'm fit to drive either one of those. I said, okay. Well, then I guess I'll be a driver. And, well, I joined public transportation, and sure enough, like my manager said when I first started, and we sat there and we had a long conversation about my hearing. She said, you know what, Scotty? This is how you're going to end up leaving the company. Said, it's going to be a long fight, but in the end, you're going to lose. About 3 weeks later, they retired. And 17 years later, I got qualified. All because the tone of my voice when the environment was loud. I mean, the environment can change. It depends on tinnitus, which is a constant ringing in your ear because of hearing loss. That is something that I got to suffer for the rest of my life. I hear ringing or buzzing in an ear. And, well, that changes my vocal volume and the tone of my voice. But I've learned to control that a bit, but the thing is, in some situations, I really can't. But getting back to, the event of 9/11, and then the TSA popped up. And I said, whoa, cool, I'd really like to have that job. Now, we all know how loud an airport can get, especially during busy times. Well, in the TSA employment regulations, an individual that wears a hearing aid cannot be qualified to work for TSA. They cannot be hired. But if you're an old fart already working for TSA and your hearing goes and you wear hearing aids, keep working. TSA has their butt covered. They don't have to hire them. They just can't fire them if they end up with a medical disability. So that got me really upset. And I started looking and started researching a lot more. And you know, folks, it's unbelievable with the amount of technology that is put into a hearing aid to allow an individual to hear and live a normal life, that a lot of these laws, with the exception of TSA, a lot of these laws, a lot of these rules, a lot of these regulations were written in the 60s and 70s and never updated. You have police officers that basically have a hearing aid. They have a wire that comes from the microphone right to their hearing aid. You know what? I could have a wire that goes and plugs right underneath my hearing aid, and I can hear the same dang walkie-talkie that they can. They say, well, what if your battery goes dead? Your SOL. I said, I got a little pocket right here. I never leave home without them. So what's the difference? I said, well, if your hearing aid gets wet, we know how to prevent that. You live all your life with a hearing aid, and just saying, well, you're not the same as anybody else. And we fight day in and day out to be just like anybody else. If anybody says, oh, that guy is blind, I feel sorry for him, he has to either have a dog or a cane for the rest of his life. Ray Charles never had a cane. I've seen multiple individuals never had a cane. They used their feet to find their way around. And they walk perfectly fine. So I don't know where to go from now. Just to advocate on a YouTube channel that only has 1,000 subscribers, I don't think it's going to do anything. But for the thousands of people out there that wear hearing aids and they can't find a job, these people don't want somebody that wears a hearing aid working for them. But you know what I did back in the 80s and 90s when I went to go and find work? And I put down that I have a hearing disability do you have any kind of disabilities? Yes, I'm hard of hearing with the correction of hearing aids. And I put that on all my applications. Never got a call back. Not a single one. And I said, wow. I could either be a gas station monkey or a prep cook for the rest of my life. I hated it. I went to work and worked for carnivals. That was fun. I mean, the machine noise there and the noise level there was so... I remember it was the equivalent of working on an Air Force deck on an aircraft carrier. It was louder than working inside of a motor pool. What's the difference? Geez, I could be able to stand from one end, just to make my point across. If I was working for TSA And I was standing at the end of that counter. And there's an individual that's on the other side of that security gate. They're talking to each other. And the noise level is loud enough where nobody can be able to understand them. I could decipher that entire sticking conversation that they're having without even hearing their voice. I could sit at a table, take my hearing aid out, and have a conversation with you, and I don't even know what the tone of your voice is. I don't even know what the volume of your voice is. So what's the difference? I have better hearing than they do. I just don't have to have the sound. So it just makes my life complicated. Makes it hard. Sometimes I sit up at night and saying, why? So, maybe someday if I can do well and maybe get a seat on this platform and get a nice following, I could start bringing awareness to millions of people that the deaf and hard of hearing is just the same as a person walking down the street. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think the deaf and hard of hearing should not even be a single excuse for not being able to do the things that everybody else wants to do? I've had a manager says, oh, being deaf and hard of hearing is an excuse. You should be able to talk just like everybody else. And I explained to him, well, my tone and vocal volume doesn't agree with you. Oh, that's an excuse. There's no such thing. Okay. There's no such thing. But yet, I get turned because I get quiet fired before it. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think, if somebody wears a hearing aid, they shouldn't be discriminated against at all? Do you think it should be just the same as you and I? Let me know in the comment section below. Do you know somebody that's deaf and hard of hearing? Probably do, because grandparents, great aunts, great uncles, you know them. But let me know in the comment section below. Please do me a favor, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share it with your friends, share it with your families. Until next time, keep on rocking.